So I'd like to invite the Uhuru movement up here. These are gentlemen who are part of an organization that has been doing important work in the black community, has been calling attention to the hypocrisy of the Democrats around these issues, and have been brutally attacked simply for calling for reparations and for self-determination for their own people. So I'd like to invite them up here right now. Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Uhuru!
Right on, right on. Uhuru, Uhuru. I'm gonna start with a chant. I say touch one, you say touch all right? Touch one,
touch all.
Touch one,
touch all.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru means freedom, and it's a Kiswahili word that we use as a greeting inside the Uhuru movement because we feel like freedom should be in the minds of our people 24/7. I would like to thank CPI for allowing us to speak at this event. For giving us, and my name is Nkululeko. I'm a member of the Uhuru movement, the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement, also known as NPDUM. This is a vanguard mass organization of the Uhuru movement. First off, I'd like to salute my leadership, Chairman Nkululeko Sechaba, who's the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party and the leader of the Worldwide African Liberation Movement. Also, I would like to acknowledge the international president of NPDUM, Dr. Matsumela Odom, who gives leadership to this work that we're doing, that we're engaged in. So the Uhuru movement was created as an attempt to continue the spirit of resistance against U.S. colonialism, continue the spirit of resistance, continue the spirit of black power, which means self-determination, which means that we have the right to control our community and the resources in our community, the institutions in our community. Since we were introduced to this America, this experiment, we haven't had those liberties or those democratic rights to do for self. It has always been dictated to us who we are, what we are supposed to do, or our place in this American experiment. Based upon the conditions of our people, the African colonized people here in America, we have always resisted the system of oppression and exploitation manifested by the U.S. government and all of its institutions. The Uhuru movement was born as a result of that. And the Uhuru movement was born as an attempt to bring our people back into political life after the military crushed and almost crushed our movement in the 60s and 70s when they murdered scores of people and the Black Panther Party imprisoned scores of people just for organizing around the basic democratic rights for us to have community control over our resources and our institutions. So the Uhuru movement was created in an attempt to bring our people back into the political life so that we can continue the struggle to understand the nature of our relationship with the U.S. government, not only here in America, but throughout the world. A part of that struggle, the Uhuru movement, under the leadership of Chairman Nkululeko Sechaba, created the African People's Solidarity Committee, which is the organization of white people who work under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. And their job is to go inside the white community and organize the white people around to support the struggle, the anti-colonial struggle, to support a struggle that defends the democratic rights of black people who have been deprived of that in America since America been America, you know, like Langston Hughes says, and America never was America to me. So, based upon the success of the Uhuru movement and the African People's Solidarity Committee, we have been attacked by the state as they have continuously attacked all just movements for people to have self-determination, not only here within the states, but throughout the globe. They have attacked the people's right to democratically choose their leaders, to democratically choose where their resources go. The US government has a track record of supporting overthrowing democracies for their own colonial interests. So based upon the success of the Black Power blueprint implemented by the Uhuru movement, we have been attacked. On July 28th, 2022, the U.S. government attacked the African People's Socialist Party in its 7 offices, the home of Chairman Amali Shatella and Deputy Chair Ona Yesatella. Also attacked our Solidarity Committee on one side. As a result of the murder of Mike Brown, the African People's Socialist Party went to St. Louis, Missouri, and was able to create real solutions to the problems of the black working class. Solutions that the state otherwise would ignore and let grow, so that they could continue to criminalize us and continue to incarcerate us to feed this capitalist, this decadent, parasitic capitalist system. So based upon the success of those institutions and the work around the world and uniting people to understand that this is a global struggle, this isn't a struggle that we're just subjected to here within the states or confines of these artificial borders that's called the United States, that this struggle is connected directly to the continent of Africa. It's a continuation of the war on Africa. You know, we should know that Africa was divided into 54 countries specifically to feed Europe and North America at the expense of the people there. You know, and that's the same relationship that we have here in America with the bourgeoisie, with the ruling class. All of our labor and all of our resources go to benefit foreign communities, foreign powers that are not in our community. In fact, they just drain our community of resources every day. So our leadership, the chairman Amali Shatella, is the target of this indictment, and it's an attempt to silence, again, the voice of the oppressed. It's an attempt to undermine the leadership of the black community and to keep us within a state of ignorance as to the true conditions that we are in. We have a false national consciousness, you know, not only here in America, but around the world. We are a dispersed nation, and we have a collective interest no matter where we are on the planet, because, again, we are all people, we all should benefit from the natural resources of the world. So on May 2nd, 2023, the state indicted the Uhuru 3. Not only was Chairman Amali Shatella indicted, but also, mind you, Chairman is 81 years old, who spent 50 years of his life fighting for the democratic rights of the black community. Spent 50 years of his life opposing all imperialist wars, not just the war in Ukraine. I was in the Uhuru movement when we opposed the war in Iraq. We opposed the war right here in the black community. So there's a long track record through the Burning Spear media. I have some old copies there of our newspaper, the Burning Spear newspaper, that explains the history that the Uhuru movement has in opposing all of these imperialist wars, imposing all of these regimes of state power that keep us away from our resources and keep us away from our democratic rights, continually attacking our democratic rights. Penny Hess and Jesse Neville are 2 white people, Europeans, North Americans, working under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. And they were also criminalized, and they were pretty much criminalized for going into the white communities and winning support from white people to join in and say, yes, reparations are due to the formerly enslaved Africans. You know, reparations are due, and this colonialism is a primary contradiction, primary basis of all of the problems in all of our lives. And based upon their success in doing that, they were also targeted and criminalized and indicted. And now they're fighting for their lives for basically speaking up and representing the colonized people. So now they're known as the Uhuru 3. They charged them with conspiracy. They charged them with influencing domestic elections. And we know who influences the most elections, and not only here in America, but around the world. You know, the U.S. government has toppled more democracies and put in more dictatorships than any other, you know, entity on the planet Earth. So they're charging us with the crimes that they're guilty of. You know, so we can't expect the criminal to take themselves to court. And that speaks to another reason why they indicted the Uhuru movement, because we have a campaign called Africans Charged Genocide. Because what's going on here in the United States with regards to the institutional relationship, every institution in this state has an antagonistic history and current relationship with the African colonized people right here. every institution, whether it's the media, the schools, hospitals. So we charge genocide. The infant mortality rate for black children is greatly higher than other demographics in our community. So that speaks to genocide. The graduation rate, the incarceration rate, this all speaks to the genocidal conditions that we are subject to right here within the borders of America. And we can't speak about what's going on around the world, or if we're not addressing what's happening home, because it's a reflection of the true nature of America's connection with us, and it's an exploitive relationship. It's not one of opportunity. It's one of a chain. It's a enslaved relationship. So the real basis of the attack on the Uhuru movement is because of the ideology that the that the party via Chairman Amani Shetela is putting out. It's an attack on our freedom of speech. Again, the Uhuru movement has a long history on opposing all imperialist wars. They firebombed the chairman, pepper sprayed, and just for speaking truth of life as experienced by black people in America. Neither the chairman or any members of the indicted three has been arrested for any violent acts. It's all thought crimes, and how dangerous is that? How hypocritical is that, in the land of whatever, right? So again, the FBI, we must acknowledge the FBI has a long history of counterinsurgency. The state is an institution of repression that keeps these colonized masses in check so that they don't uprise and reclaim the land, reclaim the resources, and reclaim power and destiny over their own lives. So we want to acknowledge the fact that this is a continuation of the state's attack on the Black Liberation Movement. Nat Turner was hung and tried, and he was tried in a court, and he was hung and murdered, executed for trying to get free, for fighting for freedom. Slavery was legal. Jim Crow segregation was legal. So if we did something, if we tried to get free, we were breaking the law, right? If we went to a certain bathroom or a certain restaurant, a certain side of the bus, we were breaking the law, right? So this is the same government. This is the same entity that has evolved from those times to what it is now. And so the Uhuru movement recognizes that and has organized all people all around the world to stand up and defend the democratic rights of black people, to stand up and defend the democratic rights of Africa, to have self-determination, to unify, to move those imposed borders that used to divide us and keep us away from our resources. So we say that we are our own liberators. Chairman Amali Shetela, we don't need the Russians to tell us, about American imperialism. We don't need the Russians to tell us about our experience with American colonialism, with the Democrats or Republicans. We have our own, agency. We have our own historical context, that we put our struggle into, and so it defines our purpose and what we must do. Because whatever it took for us to get into this situation, that's how we're going to get out of it. So again, I encourage you all to go to our website, handsoffyuhuru.org, sign our petition, the African Charged Genocide petition, sign the petition to support the Uhuru 3, and say hands off the black community. There's a legacy. So yeah, those are the main things I want to say. Again, they try to tell us that we should vote, right? And they say that we should engage in this, this electoral process to express ourselves. And the Uhuru movement was criminalized just for doing that. Jesse Neville was a member of the Uhuru movement who we ran for office in St. Petersburg, Florida, for mayor, in fact. And we ran him on a platform for reparations, an issue that would be otherwise ignored by the ruling class and the petty bourgeois cohorts, and it was forced the state to deal with that question, which again, they would rather ignore. So, by us practicing what America said we're supposed to do to express ourselves in our political expression, we've been criminalized for it. And that's a continuation of what America has done. Just like, they killed people for going to vote. And right now, they're striving to imprison and martyr Chairman Amani Shetela for encouraging us to promote, to participate in electoral politics under a revolutionary ideology called African internationalism, and it realizes that the resources of the world go to feed North America and Europe. The only reason why Africa is in poverty right now is because Europe is wealthy. You know, the only reason why there's poverty here in America is because, you know, that's engineered, right? You know, so we have a lot of work to do. We are our own liberators. Again, I'd like to express my appreciation for my leadership in the Uhuru movement, express my appreciation for CPI, and hands off Uhuru, hands off Africa.
No more raids! No more raids!
No more raids! No more raids! No more raids! No more raids! No more